Hey everybody, it's the Nitty Professor here. Happy New Year's Eve. We've still got the Christmas tree up because guess what? We're only halfway into the 12 days of Christmas. Got a few to go. So today, because a lot of us probably were gifted, or maybe like my son, bought ourselves the gift of heritage boots or even heritage shoes, I thought this would be a good time to talk about breaking those babies in. So today's topic is on reflections about breaking in your boots, and I have a few samples here of my efforts to do that, and there are a lot of considerations to keep in mind as we are breaking in our boots, because we don't want to break our feet in the process. So I think there are better and worse ways to do it. Now, there are some crazy schemes out there that people have about, wading through a creek or something and then wearing your boots until they dry, and then magically they're form-fitting and just right. But there are a lot of considerations to keep in mind when we're purchasing boots and we're thinking about breaking them in. I'm going to hold up here a pair of boots. These are a pair of Wolverine 1000 Miles. And this is a really fun rough out leather. And one of the things that is a factor when you're breaking in boots is the thickness of the leather. Now this is a Sea of Stead leather, and it's reasonably thick. I didn't have a micrometer, so I don't know how thick it is, but one of the things that I've run into with this boot, which has gotten me a little stymied, maybe I need those cedar shoe trees that somebody was recommending, but you see this crease right here. It kind of hits me a little bit. I'm struggling with trying to get that out of there. Maybe if people have some suggestions how I can kind of get that crease to move, it bothers me some, and I'm kind of thinking one of the things I can do is just continue to work to break them in. Maybe, sweat in them a little more, so moisture from the outside, the inside out maybe. But I'm finding that in the particular case of these boots with breaking them in, the leather is just stiff enough, and I actually have conditioned them thinking that would help. But they just want to crease in that one spot, and it's kind of given me a bit of issue trying to get them broken in. So soles aren't an issue, but that's just like, this kind of leather is really tough. I think it's probably a shrunk leather, and sometimes when the leather is shrunk, like I have those Aqua Rambler boots, and I thought I would never get those broken in. I had to just keep wearing them, and I think I finally gotten them to sort of do my bidding. Let's look at another pair of boots that I've had issues with. I think materials in general. So this is a pair of Parkhurst that I just can't get them to the point where I can wear them all day. And that's my goal with a good pair of boots. By the time you spend $400, $500 in a pair of boots, you want to think that you don't have to take them off at lunchtime. You should be able to wear them all day. And I really like these boots. I like the leather. It's beautiful, kind of a mocha, like a cocoa. But these are the earlier generation of Parkhurst, and they're probably about 3 or 4 years old. I really think this heel counter is some kind of fiberglass plastic. I don't think it's leather, because I cannot get this to shape to my heel. And so therefore, after about 4 hours, I'm going to get blisters. They rub on the sides. They won't, kind of fan out or conform. And that's an issue. So I think you really want to keep in mind all the materials that your boots are made of. It's not just about the uppers and the midsole. It's also about the heel counter and the toe cap. So it's also about where the seams are. So this boot, I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever really get them there, because if the heel counter isn't leather, which is my suspicion, then I'm not sure it'll ever, shape to my foot. It might break before it does that. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't given up on them yet, but I'm a little bit pessimistic. Now, these Red Wings, so these are my charcoal Iron Rangers, and this kind of goes to my point about leather thickness. I feel like the leather on these, this is the charcoal Rough and Tough, it's not as thick. So it's not even as thick as the leather on my Iron Rangers. Consequently, there was really almost no break-in time for these boots. I think I wore them one day and I was like, boom, we're done. Even, you know, with all these seams on the side, and this is an area, so right here in the outside of my foot, sort of in the middle, there's this bony protrusion. I don't know, my son has the same thing. My younger son, who was on some videos with me, he struggles with the same spot. Depending on where those seams are in the side of the boot, they can hit right there, and it has to stretch. You know, the leather just has to conform. And even with that issue with the Red Wings, the way these Iron Rangers are configured, it wasn't an issue. Hey, Sparky, come here. Or my son's husky likes to chase the cat, so it's we always have to keep an eye on her. Come here, girl. Even with these cap toes, you know, sometimes I'm thinking to myself, well, a cap toe, right? There's more stuff there. There's more thread. There's more overlapping material to break in. But with these Iron Rangers, this particular leather, the charcoal rough and tough, easy as pie. It's just really easy. And I, you know, personally, I like that. I'm not the youngest person in the world. And one of the considerations, so I actually had a checkup this morning with my doc, the annual type of checkup. And one of the things that she asked me, did you have any concerns? I was like, well, I think I might be developing a bunion, you know. And so we talked about that for a few minutes. And I showed her, and she's like, well, she wasn't like, you know, oh my God, right? It's just something that comes with age. So you use your feet a lot, and it's almost really kind of normal. My sister tells me that it kind of runs in the family, and the doctor was like, you have to have a wide toe box. So number one, you have to have a wide toe box. But number two, you don't want to exacerbate it. So to the extent that something's going on there, it's minor, you don't want to worry about it, but you sure don't want to make it worse. And I think breaking in boots is one of those things that could actually injure your feet. You know, it's one thing to talk about arthritis that happens with age. It happens with just the use and abuse of our feet. It can be exacerbated, obviously, by wearing the wrong kind of footwear. And I would be tempted to argue that there aren't a whole lot of options besides heritage boots that constitute good footwear to wear in order to protect. Now she's playing with the bone. In order to protect your feet. But then the other issue is, right, you can get blisters. So if you don't have a proper fit is really crucial. Proper fit is something it can make or break a boot. And a lot of us nowadays, we buy boots on the internet. I bought 1,000 miles just hoping the first pair would fit. And when I got them, I felt really lucky because I managed to make that happen. So I managed to choose the right size, tried to listen to all the, you know, advice out there and just get the most information that I possibly could. So that was fortunate. All my 1,000 miles, with the exception of that one crease, right, work out really well. I'd say especially the Evans model with a little bit additional rubber on the sole. It so happens that the leather that I have on those is just great. I have one with Chrome Excel, one is with the Pullman. So yeah, the size, you really have to watch the size. Too big can be an issue, too small can be an issue. Proper fit I think that's one of the keys to having the opportunity to really successfully break in a good boot. That's one of the advantages of a place like Nick's, you know, and White's. They really take a lot of trouble to make sure that you get the right size, and they're not going to try to just upsell inserts and this kind of thing on you. They really want to get it right, and they have this kind of, you know, handmade type of sort of procedure or strategy to ensure that it's really going to fit your foot well. So I'm holding up another pair of Iron Rangers here, and these are the 4331, the Writer's Room. This leather is higher quality. It's a little thicker than the charcoal rough and tough, and I've had minimal trouble breaking these boots in, but because the leather is a little thicker, I did have more of an issue with this area right in here. I think this is about where the bump on the side of my foot kind of hits, which is right where the seam is. Because this leather is a little thicker, it is a little harder for me. So I can go for about 5 or 6 hours in these boots, and then it'll just get sore right there on the side of my foot. But other than that, I haven't had any problems, even with this serious cap toe here. The midsole is a little thicker, so the midsole, that's another area that has to be broken in. Now with the copper rough and tough Iron Rangers, that midsole, it's barely there. Basically just has the cork, but this one, it has a little more serious midsole, and I think the sole itself is a little bit more robust. So a bit more work. Even, you know, the heel slip issue is going to come when you can't bend the boot. So breaking in the midsole, that's part of the whole process. Is you know, if it's leather and rubber, if it's the right ingredients, so to speak, it's going to be doable, and it's going to break in a way that works for the way that you walk, for your gait, for the way that you move your foot when you're walking. Hello, kitty cat. Paris is coming for a visit. So, midsole, upper, fit, those are all some key issues. And the last pair of boots I'm going to show you here for this consideration of the break-in, hi Paris, is this pair of Trumans. These are my Dark Coyote Roughouts. You want to pay a visit? She's like right behind the camera. These boots, they have a couple of different options. There's a cap toe version, I think, and this is the non-cap toe, plain toe boot. And one of the things I really like about these, personally, I don't wear boots to, you know, work at a factory or a construction site or something like that. So I don't really need steel toe. Some people, they've got to have that. I kind of, personally, I prefer to have speed hooks here. This one happens not to have it because it's sort of influenced, I think, by the whole service boot model back from 50 or 60, 70 years ago, which I like. I like that historical touch. But this leather is wonderful. It's the Dark Coyote Roughout, and I believe it's from Seidel. If I'm wrong, don't hesitate to correct me. There she is, to correct me. I do like, hey Paris, yeah, you might want to move a little bit, honey. Come here. I do like that, sorry about that. Hey Paris, the unstructured toe, it makes the break-in that much easier. Now in this case here, sorry about my edge dressing. I've been really beating these boots up. You know, the reason why I wanted to profile this pair of boots in particular is because lately, especially with the bit of snow that we've had and the fact that it's like a little slushy, or it will get wet and it's been mixed in with a little mud, I have been wearing these boots like 4 or 5 times a week. They have become, and partly because, well, I got them broken in, right? They've become my kind of go-to boot because I succeeded in getting a break-in because they were break-inable. They are a good fit. They have the right configuration. I don't have any problem with this, the side. The heel is conforming to me because it's leather. And the leather is, it's not so thick like the Aqua Rambler, where I was really just having problem. It's like such a thick leather that you know, almost just wouldn't bend at all at first. But this is not quite as thick. And yet, it's super tough. It's really a good combination of toughness and not being so thick that you can't break it in. Yeah, no, that's not a cat nest, honey. Now she wants to sit on the other boot. The setup is just wonderful. It took me, I think the longest part to break in on this was that midsole because, like I say, it's kind of thick. And the welt also, I would like to say that's a storm welt just because of how it rises up against the side of the shoe. So, you know, that has to be broken in too. Like you can tell here on where the ball of the foot is, that it's almost flattened out a little bit. But these boots now, they are both protective and they fit beautifully and they respond well to the way that I walk in them. And everything is just conforming. You know, these boots, basically, I've now made them be for my feet. Not for you, kitty. Not for your feet. No, kitty cat. But I've basically forced them to conform to my needs. So, I think one of the reasons, well, several reasons I was able to do that is because they fit great and they're made great. So those are some thoughts I have on breaking in boots as a sort of a parting shot. I think there's a balance between like how hard it is to break in a boot and how well it serves you once it's broken in, because we all know that once you get a boot broken in like this, that it makes you happy. I mean, when I put on these boots, I'm like, yes, it's going to be a great day. You know, my feet are protected, but they're also comfortable. They breathe. I'm protected from wet, from rocks, from, you know, whatever is going to come my way, certainly, you know, unless I get run over by a truck. So I don't expect that to happen today. Patience is probably the thing that I might want to stress in breaking in a boot. To get that process to conclude, you know, to be successful, you have to go about it incrementally. You don't want to push your feet. You don't want to push your feet so far that you're hurting them, because that can have long-term consequences down the road. One of the things I was talking to my doc about this morning was she was saying that there is such a thing as bunion surgery, but it's very painful, and your bunions have to be pretty bad to make it so that surgery is even a viable option to help you. So the last thing you want to do is put your feet into that, you know, plight that you've been busting a gut, overdoing it, trying too hard to break in your boots too fast, break in boots that don't fit well, that are overbuilt for the purpose that you need them for. So I think patience is really key. Doing it right. Don't hurt your feet. Don't take things so far that you're causing yourself blisters and swelling, right? So if you need to just start half hour here, half hour there, I think my Aqua Ramblers, I was wearing them like once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks for half hour, an hour. And I just kept doing that. And literally, you know, I think it took me over a year. But now I can wear them for 6-7 hours. I consider them broken in. They've still got a lot of room to, you know, get to the point where these boots are. But because of that patience, I'm going to have a pair of boots in those that are going to be just as good as these. In fact, they have a very similar sole. And it's going to be worth it. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on breaking in boots. Maybe some crazy stories that you've had. Hopefully, you know, nothing too bad, nothing too painful. Maybe you tried one of those crazy things like, you know, wading through a creek or something like that. How did it work out? And what's your philosophy? What do you think is the best approach to breaking in your boots? With that, I'm going to wish everyone a really happy new year, a great 2025. Looking forward to coming up with some more great content for you boot lovers out there. And if you have some ideas of things you'd like to see, let me know, and I'll see what I can manage. So happy new year, and we'll talk soon. Bye.